All right, here's the solutions for the fruit flies lesson app. As you get into it, what it tells you about the fruit flies is they have these different traits about their eye color and the type of wings that they have. Red eyes or white eyes, and curly wings or straight wings. Um, and then they tell you the ratios of the wings. 9 in this category, 3 in this category, 3 here, and 1 here. So what you need to do is add up eventually that there are 16 total outcomes. Then they took a sample and they got these red values for each of those 4 categories. So the null is that the biologists claimed ratio or proportions are correct or accurate. You could say ratios here. You can also list them all, you know, 9 of the 16, 3 of the 16 in right here. And I gave subscripts like red eyes, straight wings, red eyes, curly wings, and so on all the way down. And then the alternative is simply that the proportions are not accurate. You could also say, you could phrase it, and you may see it this way, like one of the ratios is incorrect. It only takes one wrong one to, to throw the others off as well. Number 2, the observed and the expected counts. Observed are just the red numbers, so that's pretty easy. Expected counts, you need to take these ratios, which are based on 16 total outcomes, and then use your calculator. Because the sample size was 200, you just multiply them all by 200 along the way. So 9/16 times 200. They're going to have decimals, and that's okay. Okay, 3/16 of 200. This counts for 2 of them. And the last one, 1/16 times 200, 12 and a half. All these green numbers I just wrote down would add up to 200. You know, the red numbers have a total of 200, as well as the green numbers. All right, to get the chi-squared test statistic, it is always observed minus expected squared over expected. And you do that, you add up all 4 of the categories. So the first row would be observed was 99, expected was 112 and a half. Square it and divide by the expected 112 and a half. And then let's do the next row. 42 was the observed value. It was a little bit above what we thought it should be, about 5 above. And you divide by expected. Now there are 2 more, but you don't have to. You can just do dot, 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 okay? If you want to write out all 4, more power to you. But that's all you need to do to show your work. Now on the calculator, what you need to do is go into stat in the lists, look at your table of data, make list 1 the observed, what actually happened when they counted up the different categories, and make the second list the expected values. Like so. Yep, make sure you're good. Just one quick double check. Then you run the test, which is stat tests. It's the goodness of fit test. And observed should be list 1 and expected should be list 2. I should comment on this. Degrees of freedom is the number of options minus 1. So in this case, that's going to be 3. And I'm going to draw it just for kicks. So there's my chi-squared curve. It gave me my test statistic, which is what all four of these would add up to, 6.1867. And my p-value is 0.1029. So that shaded area of the curve is about 10%. Um, okay. Um, whoops, that would go down here. This was on the TI-84. Um, Up here, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to show you how to do this in the green packet as well. In the green packet, I need to know the degrees of freedom, and I need to know my chi-squared value of 6.1. Whoops, that's not the right thing. So I've already highlighted row 3 for degrees of freedom, and my test statistic was 6.18 or something, roughly. So that will make me fall in between these two right here, right? Which means my p-value is between these two right there, between 10 and 15%. You can also kind of see it's closer to 6.25. It's very close to 6.25. It's farther from 5.32. So that leads me to believe that the p-value is pretty close to 10%, which it is. We already know what it is. It's pretty much exactly 10%. But when you use the packet, the best you can do for the p-value is to say that it is in this range of values. It is between, is another way to think of it. It's between 10 and 15%. And they match, right? Like down here, they match. All right, conclusion. Our P is above alpha. It's above 0.05. We will fail to reject HA, or HO, sorry. There, and then when you fail to reject, you say there is not convincing evidence that the biologist's claim is false. That's one way to say it. You could also say, not enough evidence that the proportions are not what they claim. But essentially, when you fail to reject, you say not convincing evidence. All right, there you go. There's your homework.